y'all? This is ASTRODIM here. We're here to talk about the new moon in Scorpio. So the new moon actually happened on the 27th at 11:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I prepped for it and had all the notes, but the energy, it wasn't bad, but the energy was potent as fuck. So potent. And so I don't know, I just didn't energetically feel that I could do it at the moment. But I felt like it would have been better for me to do it now. And I do feel a lot better. We are talking about Scorpio energy here. Scorpio energy is heavy. Scorpio is at its fall when the moon is in here. So, the energy's there. It's just a lot. Okay? I think either the moon is its detriment or its fall. I always mix those shits up. But and I've been studying astrology since 14. I always mix it up. It's crazy. But, I try to have my feelings about detriments and falls and stuff. But we'll talk about that another time. But, it's kind of like the moon suffers when it's in Scorpio. It's a little bit difficult because the emotions are so strong. They're so fixed. They're not ever changing like they should be. And that's what makes it a little bit difficult. But regardless, happy new moon, y'all. The new moon energy is still happening. Okay? It's going to be happening for a while. So happy new moon to all you hoes. Okay? The moon energy is actually going to be strong up until Halloween pretty much. And then Mercury retrograde. So, I've been feeling the shadow period for a while already. But I think it's because it's my Mercury perfection year. So, of course, I'm going to feel it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about the Scorpio new moon, okay? So, like I said before, the Scorpio new moon is happening, happened, the conjunction happened October 27th. At 11:38, p.m. And the conjunction happened at 4 degrees 25 minutes of the new moon, of Scorpio, for the new moon. And how I like to kind of talk about the degree energy, right? So the 4 energy for astrology, right, is connected to Cancer. And if we use the Serbian astrology method, which I like the most, and it represents comfort, personal emotions, family, things that are connected to your heartstring, ancestry, what you are of, right? That's what the 4 number is connected to. In tarot, it's connected to holding back, chilling, being present, not kind of taking action immediately. You know what I mean? Just being in the moment. And numerology is connected to being trustworthy, masculine, having strength, stability, dependability. Being productive, punctual, obedient, persistent, wanting results over recognition, being humble. And so if you kind of think of all of the energy that I just described, is energy that's just being a chill ass person, having chill ass energy, being present, you know what I mean? Just holding back. And so, or even just being in private and just chilling. So it kind of gives me that vibe. So it makes sense because honestly, I felt kind of chill during the new moon energy, but it was still strong at the same time. Like, I wish I could describe what I felt, but I didn't feel like, oh, it's so heavy, it's making me sad, or it's making me tired, or it's making me whatever. It just was heavy, but like a still heavy. And I was like, I don't want to do any type of like anything right now. I just want to rest. And I was worried about resting too, because lately I've been like waking up at going to sleep at 6 a.m. Waking up late as fuck, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to sleep at 6 a.m. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I had coffee late, you know what I mean? Because I had readings to do. I had my Patreon live. So I don't know what the fuck, how am I going to handle this? But luckily I was able to handle it. Of course I took a little Benadryl, a little Benny to get me to go to sleep. But you know, still, like, it was an energy in which I wanted just to chill and to rest. And you know, I did that, and I'm now like, I'm up and I feel great. And it was funny because I forgot who mentioned it on Instagram, but someone was saying that if you feel, and it's another astrologer, if you've been feeling tired lately, after the Scorpio new moon, you should be having more energy. Now, I'm not saying I'm energetic, but I definitely have more energy than I might have for the past few weeks, for sure. You know what I mean? Excuse me. So yeah, like, it's dope shit. You know, shout out to Scorpio new moon. All right, so let's go to the program or whatever. What does the new moon mean in general? So astronomically, the new moon is when the sun and the moon is in the same vicinity, almost same exact area, but basically the moon could be more up, the sun could be more down, vice versa, but they're in the same vicinity, at least they're like parallel to each other, you know. That's kind of like, you know, the new moon energy, parallel to each other, and not even parallel, what do I say, like right on top of each other, pretty much, they're like that. Yeah, that's probably a better way to describe it. So that's like, you know, new moon energy, when the sun and the moon are like right near each other. And because the sun's so bright that the moon is not really seen, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, I got distracted because I hear a high-pitched noise, and I don't know if y'all are picking it up. And it went away. Okay, interesting. All right, so I'm having clear audience here. I don't know if you guys picked it up or if it's clear audience, but that was really interesting. Anyways, I wouldn't be surprised if only I picked it up, though, because I have been connecting with, more than anything, Archangel Gabriel, and he's all about music and sound and horns and shit. It didn't sound like a horn, but it was just interesting, very interesting. Anyways, so that's what it means astronomically. Astrologically, you know, it's generally the new moon is when our emotions meet our reactions. Okay, and so we feel a certain way, we react a certain way, and it's because the sun and moon are like right near each other. So if I feel that I need to focus on, you know, work, I'm gonna start taking action and focusing on work and consciously working on work. After it's like our like subconscious and our conscious are like connected. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, we feel something and we're gonna take conscious effort towards that thing. You know, so yeah, it's kind of like your feelings and your actions, or your feelings and, you know, how you express yourself are meeting. And this is a great time to manifest because you know what you want and you're not afraid to take action on what you want. It's not no opposite energy where you feel this way, but you want to do this thing, and there's no confusion here. You feel a way, you want to act and express yourself in a certain way. So this is why it's a lovely, lovely time to manifest, to write your new moon intentions and manifestations and stuff like that. And because it's after the new moon, this is the time to write it. I've been paying a little bit more attention with electional astrology. I'm going to be one of those people that say do not do new moon intentions before the new moon, before the conjunction of the new moon. Do it after. That's what I feel. A lot of electional astrologers actually feel like you should at least do it 12 hours after. I won't be mad at that either, but you still want to make sure it's during the new moon energy. So about like 12 to 24 hours away from the new moon. It will still be within the new moon energy, and you can still utilize it, and you can still be, work with that energy. So, yeah. So what does this particular new moon mean? Well, internally, now this is going to be interesting now. We are wanting to transform our lives through coming together with somebody, something, some energy, right? And really knowing it in and out, and letting them know us in and out, and literally, like, honestly conforming with this thing. Not to it, but with it. Do you get what I'm saying? And so, like, you want to come together with like, let's use it for romance. You want intimacy within your life. You want to come together with somebody and build a union, to be a new entity with this person. When they talk about marriage, people say it's like two people coming into one. That's a form of romantic intimacy. That's very Scorpio, very 8th house, very Pluto. It's a transformation. You know what I mean? A transformation is not all about like death. It's other versions of transformation, other versions of intimacy. Of course, romantic, there's energetic, there's, excuse me, even physical transformations. You know what I mean? There's so many different versions of transformations and becoming intimate. Intimacy is literally just two energies coming together, knowing more about each other than anyone else would, and becoming one, right? And so internally we're wanting that. So externally we're expressing that. And so even though it's Mercury retrograde, this is a perfect time for Mercury retrograde. I'm going to explain this in a second. Even though it's Mercury retrograde, what people are doing like soulmate calls. You know what I mean? They're calling out for their soulmates, calling out for people who do divination, so they could be energetic intimacy, so they can transform their life. Calling out people who can work with them business wise, so they can come together, become one entity. You may even notice, companies are wanting to do acquisitions and mergers during this time. But this like energy of people coming together and becoming one, a new entity, transforming to a new thing, transitioning to a new thing, is going to be huge. Now, it's funny because like a lot of people, and I'm going to be talking about Mercury retrograde, in a couple of days on this podcast. But a lot of people always say that, oh my God, during Mercury retrograde, my exes always try to come back to me all the time, and it's really annoying, and I can't stand it, and I don't want my ex to come back, right? You're gonna get that you're gonna be getting them back, some of y'all. I'm not gonna front, unless you actually been working on this energy consciously. You're gonna, exes might be coming back, or people who you kind of pushed out of your life are gonna be coming back because of that intimacy. They want the intimacy back, whether it's romantic, platonic, business, whatever. I wouldn't even be surprised if like old jobs call people back. You know what I mean? It's that real. Depends on where the energy is in your chart. And so, what you kind of like are going to be going through at this moment is through whoever's coming back with the Mercury retrograde. They're going to be kind of figuring things out on how to communicate better and work your day-to-day when it comes to going through transformations and working through intimacy. But the thing is, this new moon's going to spark something off to make people want to come back to somebody and create a union again. You know what I mean? Because this is what's in everyone's mind right now, is to create a union, to be intimate. And Mercury retrograde makes us always reflect and think back. And so they think the answers is with you. Or you think the answers is with someone from the past. And so they will try to create that union with you, or you're trying to do that with somebody else, you know, thinking back on them, on that Mercury retrograde shit. You know what I mean? Trying to get that intimacy, trying to create that union. And maybe that experience is going to teach you what you really need in an intimate relationship. Maybe it won't. Hopefully it will. I'm here so it can do that for you. So you can just get that in your head. Because, you know, it's just like, you can't just keep having the same person come back and back and back again. Energetically, you can work the energy out so they won't. You know what I mean? But I'll talk more about that during the Mercury retrograde episode that I'm going to do. But I'm sorry, my allergies are acting up, y'all. So sorry, I'm all like sniffling and shit, and my voice sounds crazy. But basically, what's going to catalyze this situation is, you know, this Scorpio new moon. People feeling like they want to create this intimacy with somebody else, or with some other energy, or with some other entity, or whatever. And, you know, Mercury retrograde is making them think back to when things were better. And then that's why people go back to their exes, go back to their jobs, go back to employers, or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting time for sure. So again, we are wanting to transform our lives through intimacy and on all forms of intimacy. And so we're going to take action based off that. Okay? For this new moon. The new moon is in the first decade of Pluto. So very pure Scorpio energy here. And with this decade, like, this is pushing for transformation. Really pushing for transformation, you know, specifically transforming through our emotions, transforming how we feel about things, transforming our emotions. Because the thing is about Pluto energy is fixed water, so it's fixated emotions. And so it might be hard for you to change your emotions otherwise. But during this new moon, if you're really wanting to create a change, let go of things so you can manifest more, or just stop dwelling on something. This is the time to do it. You know, this is the time to do it through your new moon manifestations and new moon intentions, okay? So keep that in mind for sure. But very potent energy for transformation. So this is really exciting. If you really want to create a slow moving change within your life, it could happen, okay? One thing I do want to talk about is manifesting with the new moon as well. It's sorry, like, I'm talking slow, by the way, too. It's again, Mercury shadow period always fucks me up the most, and I'm going through my Mercury perfection year, so this is like crazy time right now. Anyways, I want to talk about manifestation, okay? Again, it's good to manifest after the actual conjunction of the new moon, at the very least 12 hours after. If you want to do it exactly during the conjunction, I mean, honestly, use your intuition, fill out what's best for you. I say wait a little bit, personally. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I just think you should wait a little bit, but definitely don't do it before the conjunction of the moon and the sun. So, for instance, the new moon basically happened during 11:38 p.m. If you did it before 11:38, then it's, the things that you're manifesting are becoming short-lived, basically, because the moon is creating the actual new beginning at 11:38 p.m. And so if you do something, say at 11:30 p.m., you only have that short span of time, those 8 minutes, and then it'll just kind of close out. You get what I'm saying? And I can speak to this too. Like, I remember a couple of times what I've manifested before the new moon or the full moon, and things didn't really work out like I wanted it to. So it really is true. It's interesting. But beyond that, though, if the new moon is aspecting any of your energy negatively, any of your natal energy negatively, don't manifest things based off of that aspect. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not saying don't manifest anything at all, but don't manifest things based off that aspect. So let's use me as an example, right? This new moon is actually square my ascendant. I'm Aquarius rising, right? And so if I want to manifest something with this new moon, I shouldn't manifest things connected to my personality, persona, perception, appearance, body, energy, my flexibility, agility, I guess that's the best way to say it. Or best way to say it, excuse me. Like, I shouldn't manifest things connected to that. You know what I mean? Because the energy is square. But, this new moon is very close to my 9th house cusp. So if I want to have a better understanding of certain philosophies and beliefs and concepts and ideas and things like that, I should try to do that. You get what I'm saying? Manifest things within that. If, for instance, if this new moon is trine my Venus, I should definitely try to manifest things connected to money, to jobs, to relationships, to my voice, to arts, beauty, creativity, things like that, so kind of work in that type of way. If this new moon is squaring anything in your natal chart, don't manifest things. If it's square or opposite, don't manifest things connected to that. Opposites are not the worst. I always say opposites are neutral, but a lot of people don't know how to work with opposites. So just to be safe, unless you're working with a professional astrologer or you are a professional astrologer, don't really work with opposite energy when it comes to manifestation either, honestly. But that's my little manifestation, talk for you guys, so you guys can know how to, get the things that you really want through intentions, okay? New moon intentions. All right, so lastly, we're gonna talk about the aspects. So there's not many aspects happening with this new moon, but I do want to talk about it in general or whatever. And yeah, I want to talk about it in general. I want you guys to get specific by looking at what houses all of these energies are at, so you can see where in your life this is affecting you. But and it's about technically 3, but I'm going to mention 4 aspects because the nodes are being hit. So that's kind of 2 aspects in one. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this, okay? So the first thing I see with this is that this new moon is actually in conjunct Chiron retrograde. All right? And so this is really interesting because at this moment, we're trying to heal things connected to our childhood traumas or past traumas involving people ridiculing or stopping or making fun of our drive and motivation and passions, making fun of or ridiculing or trying to hate on our personality, persona, appearance, body, things like that. We're healing those things. And with Chiron being retrograde, we're not taking action on the healing, we're reflecting on it. And so, we might be feeling a little bit down, really going through it, reflecting on those situations, why we went through them, how it made us grow. But sometimes when you think about the actual situation, it could hurt. You know what I mean? Because you're thinking about times where you were in pain. But, you have to pour alcohol on the wound in order for it to heal. You know what I mean? And so it's just you kind of cleansing the wound at this moment, and it's a very self-involved activity. Now, being self-involved, again, is not that bad. You just need to know how to balance it. There's nothing wrong with being selfish. It's when you're selfish too often, that's when it's bad. There's nothing wrong with being selfless. It's when you're too selfless, that's when it's an issue. And so, you're being self-involved at this moment, right? You're really trying to heal this thing. But the new moon's in Scorpio. The new moon is, you trying to become intimate with somebody else, coming together with somebody else, and you're feeling like, well, I can't focus on anyone else right now. I have healing to do. You know what I mean? There's going to be a part of you that wants to pull back. And I can attest to this because I'm going through this right now. So part of you that's going to pull back is like, no, I got to work on myself a little bit more before I even try to get together with somebody. And so you want to pull back. Be like, no, I'm not ready. You know what I mean? I'm not ready for this yet. And the thing is that you are. Because both the luminaries are telling you that you need to. And you never know, like, you could meet somebody or connect with an energy or connect with an entity that can help you with this process. I understand that you want to work with this on your own, that you want to work with this in your own pace, that you don't want anyone telling you what to do in the situation because it's your experience and you want to work with it. It's Chiron retrograde, so you want to work with this internally. You don't even want to talk to anyone about this situation. But with this energy touching each other, though, this is making me feel that the other person that your soul is calling out can actually help you with this. The other entity that your soul is calling out, the other energy that your soul is calling out, can actually help you with the healing of this. And it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel awkward at first. You know what I mean? But there's going to be an interest, because that's what happens with in conjunctions, where you're like, what are you doing? Like, there's a confusion there. But you're also interested because this energy is so different, because you're probably not used to dealing with this with other people, working through this with other people. But the beautiful thing about Scorpio energy is that, the people that you need to pick to be intimate with and have an emotional bond with needs to be people that you fully trust. And that's why I always say that, Scorpio is connected to relationships. It's a relationship sign, but it's like relationship with people that you have an intimate, close bond with, that you can trust with your life. So I suggest you to not be intimate with someone unless you can really trust them with your life. You know what I mean? Because they're seeing you at your most vulnerable. When you spill out your emotions, when you're going through a transformation, when you transition into a transformation, even sex, you're at the most vulnerable. So it's always best to try to do this with people that you fully trust. You have to have some sort of trust when you're doing any of those things. You get what I'm saying? With somebody else. And so if you just open up a little bit, use your intuition, your psychic abilities, see if you can trust someone and they can work with this with you, then it could work. But I know at first you're going to be like, what is going on? And that's okay. I understand the guardedness, but you have to focus on, you can focus on both energies at the same time. But if mom and dad, which is the sun and the moon, is telling you to work on intimacy, well, motherfucker, you got to work on intimacy. Okay? Chiron is so slow moving too. You got time to work on Chiron. And honestly, you can work you can work with both simultaneously. You really can. So definitely keep that in mind, okay? Also, the new moon is actually opposite Uranus. Similar energy, basically, that's happening here in the sense of us trying to balance both situations at the same time. And, us actually, we could actually do this, you know what I mean? With Uranus being retrograde in Taurus, exactly opposite to the moon, right? Again, Uranus is all about our uniqueness, our individuality, our quirks, what makes us different. We're reviewing these things, getting comfortable with these things, and trying to find worth within our uniqueness. I wouldn't be surprised if, a lot of people in their quirks, they hold it in and they don't express that energy out that much. And so now you're trying to work through your quirks and your uniqueness to try to find value within it. And then possibly beyond just emotional value of it, so you can express it more, but even monetary value. This is where inventiveness is born. You can try to find value within the unique ideas that you have and then cash out on it. You get what I'm saying? But Uranus is also connected to, your dreams and aspirations, as well as like friends in your network. And so you're finding value of your friends as well, figuring out if you should be fixated with them. A lot of people are going to be like trying to understand the value of their friends. It's going to seem like cold-blooded, but it's not, because you have to make sure that the company you keep is worth you spending energy on. You know what I mean? They may not be that good for you. And not on some like practical monetary shit. I'm talking about energetically and emotionally, and so you're definitely reflecting on that type of energy too. Making sure that the company you keep is in the same vibe as you, and also finding the value of your dreams and aspirations and your long-term goals to see if these things are actually obtainable. So you're in that vibe too. And again, this energy is, quite self-involved, because it's like, even if other people are involved, you're saying, how do I deem this worth? Sorry, guys. I guess it was a slight interruption. But anyways, I was talking about Uranus opposite the new moon. And so basically that we're trying to see the value in our uniqueness, our individuality, our quirks, but also the value of the company that we keep, to see if they are worth our energy on an emotional level and honestly in a practical level too. And we're trying to understand the worth of our dreams and aspirations and long-term goals to see if it's worth to spend energy on it. A lot of people like to call Taurus lazy. They do tend to be. They like to rest, but it's not necessarily like, I wouldn't call them lazy. What the thing is, though, is that they can measure out if something's worthy enough to spend time on pretty good. Because I've seen Taurus energy folks bust their ass sometimes. You know what I mean? It's very much like the bull, where a bull, if you're ready to, if you're trying to attack it, it'll muster up all the energy to fuck your ass up. You know what I mean? It'll muster all the energy to do a lot of things that's important to them, but they have to deem it worthy. If they're not, then they're just going to continue to eat their grass and walk around and be cute. Okay? And so that's kind of how the energy goes. But the thing is, though, is that, again, the luminaries in our solar system, in the moon, is pushing less towards self-worth and shared worth, right? And so the new moon is wanting us to build with people that we trust. instead of focusing on what we deem worthy as ourselves and building with ourselves. And so you're both on the vibe of worthiness. That's great. But, the new moon is trying to tell you hey, how about you look at people that you trust to see if they can help you go through this discovery of self-worth, right? How about we kind of come together and work together? But, a lot of us are kind of pushing back towards that at the same time because, a thing that I always say is you are as strong as your weakest link when I talk about the 2nd and 8th house or Taurus and Scorpio or Pluto and Venus, right? You are as strong as your weakest link. Uranus and Taurus or us, right? That energy within us is saying like, hey, I don't want to be the weakest link. I want to make sure all my shit's settled before I try to come together with somebody. But one thing you have to understand is that the universe knows what it's doing. Divine timing is real. Maybe it's the time to do it. Maybe, coming together with this person will help you with this more. Understanding the worthiness of certain things, understanding your own worth, the worth of your uniqueness, the worth of your goals, and things like that. And so definitely keep that in mind. There might be some weird, random things happening, weird and random opportunities popping up, things like that during this new moon because they're exactly opposite, okay? And Uranus retrograde, a lot of people think that Uranus retrograde would mean that, so the random events that happen are not going to be, it's going to be settled down. Actually, Uranus retrograde is connected to things being even more spontaneous, even more random, but kind of planned low-key. And so if you're randomly getting an ex hitting you back up, they've been planning this for a while, pretty much. So I'm just letting you know, what I mean? Or if a company's been randomly hit you up and you're like, what the fuck? They've been planning this for a while, but they just want to kind of catch you and surprise you to see how you would react. All right, so just be prepared for that energy, okay? This new moon is trine the North Node, which is beautiful. The North Node in Cancer, this energy is about understanding how to nurture ourselves and others. That's what the main goal is with this, nurturing ourselves and others, tending to our emotions, but tending to other people's emotions too. Understanding what our comfortability is, truly just nurturing ourselves. But when we're set up, nurturing the people that we love as well. And through nurturing others, you'll really be able to open up another person's heart a little bit, break down their guard so an intimate relationship can happen, can work out. And so this is that quote, you can really get more flies with honey is real, you nurture people more, they'll open up more, you can build an intimate relationship. And this is extremely true at this time. You know what I mean? People's the veil is thin, and so people's guards will be way more weak than it usually is because of this trine energy. You know what I'm saying? So definitely keep that in mind. The more sweet you are to yourself and the more sweet you are to others, the more people will see the value within you because you treat yourself with the utmost respect. And then you're treating them with the utmost respect as well. And so they will be more open to this new beginning with intimacy and transformation. Okay? Again, when I say intimacy, this is not all about romance. There's many forms of intimacy. There's energetic intimacy, physical intimacy, romantic intimacy, platonic intimacy, all types of intimacy. It's just two people coming together, knowing more information about each other than most people know. That's all it is. Okay? All right. Lastly, the new moon, since the new moon is trine North Node, that means it's sextile South Node. And so with South Node energy, we're basically reflecting on energy of us kind of going through authority issues and control issues, kind kind of like reflecting on that, working that out, trying to grow from those situations. You get what I'm saying? And learn from our past pretty much. And we can learn a lot through thinking about who did we have an intimate bond with during those times of authority and control, or when we thought we had authority and control, or when we felt that we didn't have authority and control and someone else had authority and control over us. Who did we have a close, intimate bond with in any type of way? How did that shape that situation? How can we grow from that? What can we do to reflect into that and make it better? You know, Scorpio new moon, you know, the reason why intimacy is involved here is because you're like researching and you're looking through the details and you're getting specific with it and you're just combing through shit, figuring out the energy holistically. You know, it's a very investigative energy. You know what I mean? And so you have to do this with yourself and all the intimate relationships that you had during these, you know, these times of you having the authority or working with authority, or, you know, any energy that's connected to authority and control over self, or someone having authority and control over you. Comb through those situations. Understand in complete detail, how did you feel? Who was you cool with? Who did you vibe with? What happened? So you can truly learn from the experience and be able to have more authority and control over self. Okay? So that's what I have for you there. So with that being said, thank you for joining or whatever. What I'm going to do is pause this for the public and then talk to my Patreons. So if you are a supporter or an up in Patreon, you get to listen to this full podcast. So supporters, what they get to do is listen to this podcast or whatever, and they get to hear me talk about the aspects patterns happening with this new moon, the fixed stars and how that's controlling the energy of the new moon. And then I talk about the new moon in each house to see how it's going to affect you. I get into detail with that. That's what the supporters get. All my Patreons get that, but the supporters, that's the thing that they get. You know what I mean? And so it's only $2 a month, you know, to get some valuable information and to get sort of personalized information about how the new moon's going to be affecting you when I talk about, you know, the moon in the houses. You get what I'm saying? And yes, you know, you may feel that, hey, I can get that for free, but, you know, from like a YouTuber, but, you know, is it going to be as good as mine? Probably not. My Leo moon jumped out. No, sir. But seriously though, you know, and I'm also talking about like fixed stars. I'm talking about aspect patterns. You're learning in the process of me. Like when I talk astrology, when I give people readings, I'm teaching them at the same time so they can be aware of their own energy. You know what I mean? And just of astrology overall, you should be aware and understand the energy of the universe because you are of it. You know? Anywho, that's what I have for y'all. If you're interested in Patreon, go to patreon.com/AstroDim. Read the description of the things that you can get thoroughly so you can understand it. If you have any questions, you can ask me, of course. You can message me through Patreon even if you're not a patron, you know, and I'll be sure to answer it. Or you can like hit me on social media. So like, you know, if you didn't know, I've been on a Twitter cleanse, and so I'm not, but the thing is the cleanse kind of made me not really even want to be on it anymore. So I wasn't on Twitter for like more than a month. And so now I'm kind of like, whatever. And so, I'm not on Twitter that often, but, I am on Instagram. It's THE_ASTRODIM, the ASTRODIM, the_ASTRODIM, excuse me. So you can catch me there. If you have to catch me on Twitter, it might take me some time, but it's IMMIDDIMMI. That's my Twitter @. And yeah, if you have any questions about anything, holla at me, okay? All right. Much love, y'all. Peace.